Do you ever find yourself turning on a game, playing it for 5 or 10 minutes, and then quitting? Do you wonder why this happens, and... Now, to be clear, this isn't me saying that video games are bad nowadays and it's impossible to enjoy gaming. I'm talking about the fact that the ability to enjoy games can be hard at times, and why that is. First, let's go over some signs that you might be burnt out of gaming are as follows. You find yourself looking at games you could be playing but have no motivation to do so. Along with this, you may be opening a game and closing it immediately without even playing it. Some of the biggest signs you are burnt out from gaming: you end up playing games as a habit rather than something you do out of want and excitement. Doing this makes it feel like gaming just isn't fun. But the reason you feel this way is because you don't actually want to be playing games. The only reason you are is because it is part of your routine. Somewhat hand in hand with this is the fact that you might be playing a game you are in the middle of that you have really enjoyed, or playing a game you have historically loved, but now when you play it, you feel nothing. Now, these are all telltale signs of burnout, but these are actually in the action of playing games. The things that people, myself included, often fail to consider are happening before you launch a game. Sometimes it takes place even before purchasing a game. If you relate to the previously mentioned feelings and also relate to what I'm about to discuss, I would highly recommend taking a break from gaming for a while. Instead of actually being excited to play a game, you are more excited to buy a game. This comes from the fact that in the past, when you've been in the midst of enjoying games, the purchasing of a new game comes with the advent of a new, exciting, and fun experience. When you are lacking the excitement from the action of playing, you fall back on historical experiences. You figure that a new game you're excited about will jumpstart your love of gaming again. Now, sometimes this works, but in most cases, it makes things worse. This is because not only are you not getting joy from something that you used to be excited about all the time, but in trying to recapture this feeling, you have wasted money. Now, it may turn out later that you start gaming again and enjoy the games you thought you wasted money on, but when you're in the mentality of disappointment, it can be hard to see through to the other side, especially when you consider gaming a part of your identity, which I will discuss later in the video. Burnout can happen for various reasons, and it also depends on the person playing games. Some of the big ones that I would guess most people have experienced are the personal habits surrounding gaming. For me, the things that burn me out the most are the fact that gaming just becomes a part of my routine, so it feels weird to break out of routine. Not to mention, it can be a real struggle to break habits. This also goes along with me playing games because I feel like it's what I should do. This issue is only exacerbated by my backlog. I see a checklist of things, and I feel the pressure of completing it. The backlog has other issues that can contribute to burnout, and I talked about this at length in the previous video, so check that out if you're interested in how the backlog influences burnout. Gaming culture can also heavily contribute to burnout. Between the fear of missing out on games you've never played, and trying to play most big new releases that come out, you can end up putting a time pressure on yourself, saying that you have to finish games so you can guilt-free play new releases while they are still culturally relevant, so you can discuss this game while it is still at its most popular with others. Depending on the type of person you are, games that have a ton of grinding in order to progress can also be quite the drain on your excitement as well. In a similar vein, there are a ton of games that are extremely big time commitments, so when you've put a ton of time into the same game, even if you are really enjoying it, it can get boring. It doesn't even have to be the same game, just games of similar types, playing them for so long can eventually lead to burnout. Burnout hits harder when you consider yourself a gamer. This can be for many reasons. Maybe gaming is your thing, and you are known for being a gamer, and you have the irrational fear of what are you if you aren't a gamer, which in the majority of cases is not as big of a deal as it seems, because you likely have other things that you are good at and passionate about. The big thing that can be scary when you are feeling burnt out as a gamer is the fear that your love of gaming may not return. When it has been such a big part of your life, and you have many memories tied to gaming, It can be scary thinking of what happens if your want to play games never returns. This is amplified by the fact that if you have been a gamer for many years, or like me, the majority of your life, you have spent so much money between games, consoles, accessories, DLCs, and setups. It can be very scary to think this thing that you have poured a lot of time, energy, and money into will suddenly fall by the wayside. Sometimes this fear is even more paralyzing than the feeling of burnout. To help ease your mind of these fears, I'll say a few things. The vast majority of the time, your enjoyment and excitement regarding games will return. True, it may not be soon, but it will come back. And if it doesn't return, try to reframe gaming as something you get to do, not something that you have to do. This can help you have a better relationship with gaming. Instead of having it as an integral part of who you are, it can be a big part of what you do. The other very important part of this is the fact that if your interest in games doesn't return, that is okay. It can be hard to reckon with, but people can change who they are and what hobbies they have all the time, and so can you. It will be okay. Now, with all this said, you are probably interested in how you can start enjoying games again. And although I can't guarantee you will, I can provide you with some methods I use to find enjoyment in gaming. The first is the most obvious and relatively simple remedy. Just take a break from playing games. Whether this be for a week or a month, just taking a break can reset your desire to play games. This is because when it is such an integral part of your routine, you can take the joy it brings you for granted. It just becomes the normal level of enjoyment you expect. After you come back from a break, you may realize that even a game that you thought wasn't that engaging and enjoyable is actually quite the opposite. You just needed a bit of a reset. Some other tried and true strategies I use to spark enjoyment in games are trying different genres of games. If you only play the same type of game for long enough, you are bound to get bored of it at some point, leading you to think you aren't interested in gaming anymore. But in reality, you were just not interested in that certain genre at this moment in time. A switch in genre doesn't hurt to try. Along with this, I try, emphasis on try because it can be hard sometimes, to limit myself to playing one game at a time. Usually this looks like me having complete focus on a game until I've beaten it, but it can also look like me playing a game for as long as it is interesting to me, and then switching to a different game. The big thing is, you don't want to be actively enjoying too many games at the same time, because then when you decide you want to play something, it can be hard to choose what to play, and then it can feel like you are neglecting the other games you were in the middle of. Playing one game at a time can almost ensure that you will get the most out of each game, and also you will get the satisfaction of beating a game, driving you to do it more. If this sounds too limiting, which it can be at times, I would advise you to have at least a large amount of your focus on a game that you are really enjoying. This can still give most of the benefits I have mentioned while also leaving you open to exploring more games if the want arises. The other things you can do are less actionable and more mental. You have to try to avoid FOMO. Know that you may eventually get to it, but if you don't play a certain game, it almost certainly won't change the course of your life. In line with this, you also have to realize that you don't necessarily need to be playing games right as they come out, just to fit in with what others are doing. Now, in some cases, it's a bit unavoidable, especially if you're doing something like streaming or making YouTube videos, because if you don't make a video on a game right near its release, a lot of the hype dies down, and that can affect your results. But in the majority of cases, it is fine to wait to play a game, and it will not affect your experience with it at all. I hope that these methods can help you regain your love of gaming, and if they don't, you have to remember that that is okay. Have you ever felt burnt out from gaming? And if you have, did your desire to play come back? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing as it helps the channel out a ton. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and good gaming to you all.